nobody then.
Of course, the guys are cute.
They knew they were probably going to the biggest opportunity of their life.
These boys, you know, should be and want to be respected as actual, for real artists.
Nick seems to be the heartthrob of the group.
We've come this far. How far can you go?
They're so hardworking and they started so young. There's nowhere to go for them but up.
We're trying to make music for everybody to listen to.
It was Nick, Howie, AJ, Kevin, and Brian came in later.
After the auditions, the new band got down to rehearsing the songs and learning the dance routines that would eventually make them international stars.
Airship International had a sort of like a hangar warehouse out in Kissimmee where they would store the gondolas for the blimp, and they made space for them to rehearse.
It was fun. It was cool. It was interesting.
And that evolved into them getting better at focusing on their vocal parts and getting their lines down, and that's just the beginning stages of what it would be like to be in a recording studio.
The rehearsals showed there were some problems with the original lineup of the band. As a result, 2 people quit, and although one place was quickly filled by Kevin, the Backstreet Boys were still 1 member short for an important audition at SeaWorld.
SeaWorld was something that I had contacted SeaWorld about and asked them to participate. They wanted to hear and see a lot of the group before they made a decision. At that time, we were in transit. We had dropped a member, and we had to pick up a member. Brian had come down and on Kevin's request, because he was his cousin, and auditioned actually in the SeaWorld stands. In the stand, we were waiting to audition. We asked Brian to sing a cappella. Right in the, there's a show that's held there on the water, and there's a stage that floats, and he were in the stands, and we had him sing there, and he said, "Yeah, you're fine, you're in."
They were very, very young, so they couldn't really find a niche in a bar. It wasn't appropriate for them to really hang out in bars and sing when they were that age, especially Nick. He was probably 14 at the time.
As far as getting bookings, it was a matter of just looking for opportunities that they could do public appearances. They were way too young to go into bars for the liquor license. And it was just a matter of looking in the paper and knowing people that were events that they could be involved in that we could get exposure. And then we looked around and said, "Would you like us here?" Sure. It's gratis. And in gratis performance with a glimpse of what the group could do. Here they are, ready to go to New York. The boys. Oh, that's a great shot.
The first big test for the boys was a trip to New York City to meet one of the top entertainment agencies in the world. They were on their way for an appointment at William Morris Agency, a company that handles movie stars and the world's top performers.
Here the boys, getting ready to go to New York for their William Morris debut. We were nobody then, and they knew they were probably going to the biggest opportunity of their life.
Hey, we're going to New York. We're going to have some pizza, some bagels. That's so fun. Yo, what's up?
The New York trip was financed by Orlando businessman Lou Pearlman.
Everybody but Howie. You ready?
You ready?
Get ready.
Get ready? Here we come.
I'm going to die in this plane.
Where you going?
Hey, Scott, New York.
All right, and you?
The Big Apple.
Big Apple. Lou? We're on the low. There's Lou. And Lou is a giver. He loves to do things. I mean, he's a generous, loving man. He really is.
Look here, Lou. Look who's there. We're having a family gathering.
He treated these children like his kids. Why not adopt 5 boys and make them his children? Here we are at the airport now. And
Oh, yeah.
I did. Doing good, man.
Ready?
We're headed, yeah. All right.
You're picking your nose. I'm not picking my nose.
Quit picking your fingers.
That's no problem. I'm doing it.
Brian.
Whoa.
Bev. A little annoyed, but he's okay. Better get better by tomorrow. I just have to say that. Lou was getting all the tickets taken care of, and there he is at the counter. Lou was great about doing that.
He's on his way. Got the ticket. Woo!
No one knew what New York was really going to be like. It was a very exciting point. This was the breaking point of their career.
Howie.
Oh, hey.
Nick, get your shoes, Nick. Hey, I beat. And he filled me up with a little thing. It's good.
All right.
Oh, it's Mickey. It's Mickey's belt. So good? Yeah. Very good.
Lou named him out of the fact that it would be something that went along with how rap came along, that it was a street thing. It was something that a variety of cultures could identify with.
Be the pimp daddy. Pimp daddy. Big Apple, here we come. Bye, hotel. Hurry up, Robert.
Where are you?
I gotta get pulled out.
What's up? How you feeling now?
Oh, much better.
Better than you?
Better.
Cool. Mickey's playing with something. Okay.
By himself.
Greatest city in the world, they say.
Yeah, it's hard to miss. I want a piece of fade. Fired up. Let's go home. Big Apple, we're here.
There's Lou. We're here? Are we here?
We're here.
We're here. We're here, darling. We're here. Little tickets you can buy, guys. What do you think? What do you think? Anything.
This is all mine, I hope you know.
Lifestyles with the rich and Nick.
You got the credit card?
Yes, I'll put it on the tab.
You will. Okay.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Actually, this is all my girlfriend, okay?
I'm gonna get her a wedding ring in here somewhere.
Wait, are you gonna marry that woman?
I was only kidding. I don't have a girlfriend. All you girls out there, you're my girlfriend.
Go into our room. Room 1265 in the plaza.
Right. Well, we're in the place.
This is it.
Right. Linda, so we got to talk about you.
Okay.
You have freestyle this
Ooh, yeah. Okay. That works.
I don't like the jacket though.
You don't like the cut of the jacket?
You don't like it. Where? Love the vest.
Put the other jacket on, Kevin. Again for him.
I mean, he works for himself and the back is flying back like
Too tight?
no. Oh.
Yeah, this is same color. This is silk.
What?
It's also the same color.
And cloth on fabric.
This is a fabric.
With their unique sound, it was only a matter of time and making a few connections before the Backstreet Boys got their record deal.
It wasn't really, we didn't really have it happen particularly for a reason. We've got it going on in the fall, actually the winter of 1995, which is, 2 years ago. At the same time, we released it all over the world internationally, and it just really exploded. It took off. So we had to go by popular demand to where the success was at the time.
The European market was more open and more hungry for new talent.
There was a big market in Europe, UK, Germany, places like that, for boy bands. There was a big vacuum because Take That it kind of had peaked and we're in the process of splitting up. And there was just a market for a new act who were in the same line but subtly different with a more kind of hip-hop feel.
There's obviously a glamour element, and the fact that these are 5 American boys probably helped them break Britain before they actually broke their home territory.
The European market is, from what I've seen being over there, these people they're really, dedicated to music, and to live shows. I mean, it seems to me when we're over there touring, it's like almost every weekend there's some kind of, festival show with 8 bands, playing in town, that week, and then 2 weeks later there's 8 more bands coming in and doing it. And somehow, every little town, 30,000, 40,000 people show up to do this. It's a big market for, these live shows, and the boys put on a great live show.
The boys were frequent visitors to Sweden, where they worked with producers and writers Dennis Pop and Max Martin.
Sweden has become kind of a second home for you.
Sweden is very beautiful, first of all. I personally, this is my own personal point of view. It's very clean. It's got snow here, and it's the right kind of weather. The people are very nice. The girls are beautiful. Definitely come for vacation.
Oh, yeah. Bring the whole family. And recording.
Being in a band, touring Europe while you're still at school, gave history and geography another...
How can I say? It was very educational, yeah. Very educational to on our craft. Like at the time, I was in school, like when we first came over there, and I was reading my history books, and I'm in the place where I'm reading in my books, So it was very cool.
Hold this one, please. Guys, over here, and then right to the front. Just right in front here. Guys, over here. Up here again. Okay, guys.
Success has brought with it both sides of fame. It's not just at public events where they are trowed by enthusiastic fans. Even when they try to do things undercover, somehow the fans always get to know.
It's a major event for us to all do something together, I mean, there are times we do it. We, may go go-karting or go bowling or, something like that. But that just, sometimes that becomes more than it's even worth because it's just, all of a sudden now you've got 200, 300 fans showed up at this place where you were just going trying to, take it easy and have some fun.
It's very glamorous to be in a band and make money and be chauffeured around in limousines. On the downside, it's very difficult to have a normal social life.
You can never be private. You can never be alone. Is that a problem for you?
It's just one of those sacrifices you just have to be willing to make if you're going to be in this business. But it's not really that bad. We don't really have that much time taken away from us. I mean, when we're not working, we get a chance to go out as a group or as friends and just go out and have a good time, whether it be a club or like a restaurant. We have our security make sure everything's cool.
When you came here, I mean, nobody knew that you were coming, so I guess there weren't that many people at the airport?
No, we snuck in town, but once we got here, it wasn't long until everybody knew that we were here. Word travels fast.
I'm pretty impressed. They're actually just taking it pretty well.
first day that we got here, there was like 2 or 3 fans, and I guess they tell their friends, and their friends tell their friends, and now there's like 50 to 60 girls just, following us in packs. And
there are hotels that we stay at that they're closing off, 2 city blocks because of, the fans being out in the middle of the streets and stuff like that. So
in the United States, it's not as crazy as it is here. Here, it's a little more difficult for us to go out without being recognized.
It's probably a novelty that wears off pretty quick.
I think there's a good side and a bad side. There's a lot of good and a lot of attention that they get.
A lot of flowers, a lot of cars, a lot of fan mail and stuff. Just lots of them on this earth.
Screaming and they are hysteric. Can you see the girls over there?
I think it's good.
We're still looking for the Swedish bikini team, but we haven't found them yet,
I never got that carried away where I like hung out in front of hotels or anything like that.
The fans know that, the Backstreet Boys have ladies around us, but we don't have no girlfriends, so they don't have to worry, Yeah, we're always looking.
We try to date whenever we can. I mean, of course, we're just on the road constantly. Speaking for myself, I don't currently have a girlfriend.
Being in this business, us trying to find somebody is a little bit harder now because, we're a little bit selective because we're always trying to find the right perfect one who likes us for who we really are, not for what we can give or what we do. So, like I say, you have to have a good personality, a good heart, a good head on the shoulders. And I guess that's my ideal kind of woman for me.
like how he said, it's kind of hard to find people in this business that you may or may not know whether they're really looking at you for who you are, or if they're looking at you for being a normal human being, or if they're looking at you as being a Backstreet Boy. So just gotta be careful.
Nick seems to be the heartthrob of the group.
I wouldn't take that for granted.
He's got 1 million web pages devoted to him. He's blonde. He's the only one with that blonde hair and those bright blue eyes.
I don't think,
And he's a baby.
I mean, beauty is something within, as they always say.
Looks are secondary. I think you have to find somebody who, talking about femininity and this and that, you have to find somebody who complements your bad sides. Somebody who can lift you up, and you can compliment them as well and help them. I mean, not like complimenting like, oh, you're great at that, but I mean, someone who can kind of balance you out, because your negatives can be their positives and their positives can be your negatives.
What guy would want, a bunch of screaming girls waiting outside for you? I mean, we love the attention.
You called your cab driver a bitch when she was out with the car.
Oh, no, nay.
What'd she do?
That's not good.
No, she didn't do anything. She just...
It's very hard to have relationships when you're in the public eye, especially if you're surrounded by teen hysteria, because I think then your girlfriend becomes a target to like hostile or fans. And ever since the Beatles, when John Lennon got married and he had to keep it a secret that he was married, it's been a part of pop culture really. The fact that boys in bands are meant to have girlfriends.
It helps the boys and helps them to grow and know that they're doing the right thing and what the girls want them to do. And I think that it's also good for the girls because it gives them some good role models, because the boys try to be clean cut and a good role model for teenagers.
We've been talking a little bit about groups like the Spice Girls, for example, that in the beginning of their career, they said that they were actually a bit younger than they actually are. Do you think that's all right to do that?
About lying about your age? No. I mean,
lying about your age?
No, that's one thing that,
it'll catch up to you.
Yeah.
It's only going to, because you're only going to get older. Exactly.
That passport,
birthday?
You kind of can't avoid it then.
What's your birthday? I think their image is, it's not as calculated as it is with certain other boy bands you could mention.
Well, our ages are our age is 17 here to 26.
13.
Yeah.
6 foot tall.
But is that, do you think that's something that management tells you to do? Like, it would probably be okay if you were 3 years younger. Or do you think it's something that the artists themselves choose to go out and lie about it?
I think for a marketing aspect, of course, it's to your benefit to remain young.
and although they all look kind of the same, they look kind of different in the time-honored tradition. But you do feel they all have got separate individual personalities, I think, with the Backstreet Boys. And I think though there is a big hip-hop influence in their style of clothing, and also to an extent the dance routines as well. I think that they're obviously not trying to be the next Take That. They feel that perhaps more street than Take That. Although at the same time they are nice boys from good homes who sort of grew up singing in church.
You seem to be a bunch of good guys anyways.
We just try to be ourselves. I mean, we try to stick together and be friends with each other and keep our heads on straight, and just try and do the right thing.
Do you feel you have a responsibility towards your audience? For example, not going out saying, hey, everybody take drugs, or, I mean, how do you cope with that?
We've never, professed to be perfect, that we are flawless, but I mean, when you are in the public eye, and especially when you have a young fan base, you just have to be aware of what you do and realize that people are looking up to you, and just make the right decisions, be responsible.
I think the fact that they kind of...
that's one thing about us, we want to, what you see is what you get.
What the Backstreet Boys got was the chance to hang out with celebrities like Arnie Schwarzenegger and Andy McDowell at awards ceremonies like this one in Germany. They have also collected many awards themselves over the past few years, including 2 from MTV.
So how does it feel being out there and being part of it all?
It was the second time around the best, as they say. So I think it was an honor for all of us to be out there, like I say, to be nominated twice, and we won the same award which we won last year, and which we couldn't pick a better award. I think the MTV Select Award is the one that all the viewers choose which video, so they say it's a deep honor.
Being a strong, very visual product, you can reach a lot of punters very quickly via MTV Europe.
But the Backstreet Boys don't see themselves as a product to be marketed. For them, it's about making great music that people want to hear.
We're not trying to target any audience right now. We just want people, when they hear our music, if they're driving in their cars, listening to the radio, just to sing along and to like our music.
The Backstreet Boys are more focused on their own talent. They sing well, they dance well, they write, they're very talented. So I think they're just straightforward, like, here's our product, do you like it, and that's it, which is very admirable, I think.
We're just here to make music, and we feel that they enjoy us for our music. And music's first. They like our music.
These boys, should be and want to be respected, not just as, just a pop group, but as actual, for real artists, because they are. The first album that came out in Europe, of course, was all done, basically just by producers and writers and things like that, so there really wasn't, a live musician scene going on for them at the time. And then, they recognized the importance of putting a live band into it. And now that the band's there, studio-wise, album-wise, there's talk of, the boys, I think, are, contemplating maybe doing like a live album at some point. Because they want to showcase, what it is that, that they actually are really doing, what they sound like live, and that, they're convincing, and can make it happen, that they're really out there doing it every night.
The show tonight, do you have any fireworks or things?
I think the fireworks that are on our show is us. We try to bring, not use special effects, to lift the show. We use ourselves to lift the show, to the other level.
Are you coming to the show?
You get there and you'll see for yourself that it's very high energy, and there's nothing fake about it. We're all there.
Just put on a live performance band. It's just something. It's a whole new level. A lot of energy. A lot of energy.
they all come around. As far as the fashion industry, everything's going back to the retro 60s and 70s. Same thing with the rock. The alternative rock is a lot like the, thank you, a lot like the rock of the 60s and 70s. So back in the day, you had all the Motown singing groups and local groups, and those were our influences. So that's what we're trying to do.
But our music it stems from all of what we grew up listening to, which is now become the Backstreet Boys sound.
Constantly looking for material that would identify them as different from every other group, and they found those things.
They definitely carved a niche that is distinctly their own.
When the boys started out, some of them were so young they were still at school, and balancing the heavy demands of performing with schoolwork was difficult.
If AJ had wanted to quit school for this band, had you agreed with him?
Actually, we talked about it because he was having a hard time with the tutoring, and I asked him if he wanted to be homeschooled or go for, we have a thing in the United States, you can go for a GED, which is like you take a test when you're a certain age and you can get a diploma, but you can't get into all the universities. So he thought about it, and he said, no, he's come this far, he wants to finish. So it was his decision.
Great support. AJ's mother was, as a single mother, was always there for AJ, and Nick's mother and father made frequent trips from Tampa, St. Petersburg area to make sure that he was participating in all the activities. A lot of sacrifices were made on all parts.
It's a really tough business, and you better know what you're in for, because there are long hours, you're exhausted all the time. If you don't work those long hours and you don't treat people with respect, you are not going to be more than a one-hit wonder. That's the way it works.
To be a member of Backstreet Boys, you need to be able to, do backflips and do splits in midair, and it's incredibly physical. Whereas to be in Oasis, all you have to do is just be able to stand still. So I think being in the Backstreet Boys is probably incredibly hard work.
Oh yeah, it's
That's right. That's the third one. That was back in the day. Yeah, the tours get mixed up sometimes.
The single act together, that you don't need all this. There's a lot of stress in managing 5 men with different personalities. It's hard to keep people together. It's not an easy thing. You're not looking at one individual. You're looking at 5 different personalities that are beginning to have money and wanting to do things with the money and have. It's a balancing act that you have to continue to rebalance to stay cohesive. And you all have to all agree on one goal. What's our goal? Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? And then when that goal's reached, either we have another goal or we break up.
And this business is really hard to say. You hope that it's not going to go wrong.
I think there's always a risk with boy bands that someone newer, fresher, younger is going to come along. That's always a risk. It's always a calculated risk, and no one can tell. But some of these bands have longevity, and Backstreet Boys might just be one of them.
The amount of success they've had now is a great incentive for one to stay together.
So as long as they just stick around and do what they're doing, they'll be good.
The time they've been together, they know each other. So it's easier to stay together than to start over. And I don't think that individual in the group has, a single career on the horizon at this point. So I think it would be the smartest thing to do is continue the Backstreet Boys as the Backstreet Boys.
I think there's nowhere to go for them but up.
And it's getting better and better and better. And better. And better. And even better than that.
I mean, as far as the future is concerned for this group, I know that, the boys they're looking to keep doing this as long as they can, and I mean, they're loving what they're doing, they're having a good time with it, they're excited about what's going on in America right now, because they're finally, bringing it home for them. I mean, for us to be doing a show in Tampa and playing to, 3,000 or 4,500 people or whatever it was, that's exciting. Coming home to Orlando and playing the House of Blues, I mean, that's going to be incredible. And, the future, who knows? I mean, we're just going to keep doing this and keep trying, and hopefully it'll just keep going and going.
We're always going to be doing something entertainment-wise, whether it's music, acting, singing, dancing. We're going to be up on stage one way or another.
Nick was young and rambunctious and full of energy and willing to learn, and a lot of fun to be around because he was playful.
Howie happens to be my own personal favorite because I was chatting with his sister the whole time while we were waiting on the video to be finished. And she teaches music, and she also lives in this area. And they're just very cool people, and I really like them a lot.
He was the sweetest soul, i.e. soul of the group. Howie didn't seem to have anything that I could see as far as recreation. I don't know. Maybe a girlfriend, I don't know.
Kevin's the oldest. He's the one that looks like the man. And I believe his family is from Kentucky. And his parents are very soft-spoken and very nice. Like them a lot.
Kevin was into weightlifting and bodybuilding, getting in shape, and he was the big brother of the group.
'AJ's the cool one. AJ's always adorned, and he's funky, man. Every time I look at AJ, I think New York. I don't know what it is, but he reeks of New York. I can see him just living in a penthouse, up on the Upper West Side or something. He's a cool guy.
AJ was always had something smart to say and clever, and had a lot of good energy brought to the group. It was a more of a hip energy, a California thing that AJ brought in.
He's my favorite voice of the group. He has a voice like an angel. And Brian, we just found out that he's undergoing heart surgery. He has a hole in his heart. So I mentioned that on the air.
Brian came along, who brought a lot more soul in the group, a lot more spirituality in the group.
Oh my God, is it true that Brian's having surgery? Is he going to be all right? When will he be better? Will they be singing again? And So I said, yeah, he has like a 6-week recovery time or an 8-week recovery time, and he'll be back and we'll be touring in no time. And so we were concerned too, though, when we first heard heart surgery. We hadn't heard any other details. But it's something that they say he'll recover from fine, so don't worry.